Second base will bat second. Ken Caminetti, the third baseman, hits third. Greg Vaughn in left field batting fourth. Mark Sweeney will be at first base today. He'll hit fifth. Ruben Rivera in right field batting sixth. Carlos Hernandez catches batting seventh. Andy Sheets at shortstop hitting eighth, and Stan Spencer, the pitcher, bats ninth. Scott Rowland at third base. Desi Relaford shortstop. Kevin Jordan at second. Rico Brogna at first. Mark Parent catching. Greg Jefferies in left. Doug Glanville in center. Bobby Abreu in right. And on the mound is 27-year-old Paul Byrd.
And the National League Player of the Week kid, Paul Byrd, is 2-0. 2 games started. He's got a 1.8 earned run average. 20 innings, 13 hits, only 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. His numbers are even better just with the 2 games with the Phillies. Opponents are hitting 181 off him. In the 2 games as a Philly are only hitting 145. And he has been everything and more in his 2 starts with the Phillies.
Leading off will be Steve Finley. He's hitting at 250. But after a fastball, 1 strike to Finley. Nothing in 2 to Finley. The umpires today: rookie C.B. Buckner behind the plate, Paul Schreiber at first, Charlie Relaford at second, and the crew chief Ed Montague at third. Wide 1-2 the count to Finley. Thanks to Tony DiStefano and Fran Gallagher for the Hoagies sent up today. Struck him out. Got him with a changeup. Finley goes down swinging, 1 down.
Back-to-back changeups after 2 good fastballs, and that's the pitch that Paul Byrd says has helped him so much, that has really got things turned around for him. Look at the bottom just drop out of that changeup. It's a split finger that he basically, you saw when he was wrapping his hand behind him, his thumb is tucked under that ball, and that's the adjustment he made at Richmond that really helped that pitch so much.
Brings on Ed Giovanola. He's hitting at 222. And was a teammate of Paul Byrd when they were in the Atlanta organization. Padres picked him up off the waiver wire from the Braves this past winter. 1 ball and no strikes to Giovanola. Thanks to Paul Schaefer and Gene Wengert of Myerstown for the cupcakes, homemade cupcakes sent up. Beats a foul, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
You see what the Padres have done against the Phillies. 7-1 in the 8 games they've played. That earned run average really tells a story at the bottom. Team ERA 195 for the Padres. The Phillies just have not scored that much.
2-2 the count to Giovanola. Padres have won 7 of the 8 games played, and 7 of the 8 have been by 2 or fewer runs. So the Phillies have played them close, but don't win them against Bruce Bochy's club. Full count to Giovanola.
And they've got a chance. They're in every game that they play. I mean, you figure every game out of the 8, 2 runs or less, you're in every game. They've not been blown out. They just have not been able to handle the Padres pitching.
In the left field for a hit. Jefferies over to cut it off. Giovanola the big turn. He will hold there. So Giovanola is a 1-out base runner for Ken Caminetti.
Well, Giovanola probably knows Paul Byrd as good as anybody. He gets a fastball out over the plate. Byrd trying to get it in, but leaves it out over the plate. Hits it right off the end of the bat. Jefferies had a lot of work down in that corner last night.
And did a good job out there last night.
Yes, he did.
Ken Caminetti hitting at 269. 26 homers. He has knocked in 76. Send along our very best to Sandy Sadlin. Sandlin, excuse me, watching the game just out of Christiana Hospital in Delaware, which has come from son Al and from us. Close play at first base. It also was a close pitch that Buckner called a ball.
RICO's got a sign with Mark Parent when he's going to throw that ball down there. A lot of times they'll let him know. Parent will let Brogna know, hey, this pitch is a ball, or if it's close, I'm going to throw it down there if the guy's getting a good lead down there.
It's falling behind Caminetti 3-0. Greg Vaughn on deck. Caminetti started down to first. C.B. Buckner calls it a strike. 3-1.
This might have been out of the strike zone there a little bit, but I think he threw one earlier in a count that was right there that he didn't get.
Second pitch. Full count to Caminetti. Goes, and it's hit deep, tight to the line and left. It is a fair ball out of here. Home run, Ken Caminetti. Caminetti's 27th home run of the year, and the Padres jump to a 2-0 lead here in the first inning.
Cammy's gotten a couple home runs over there in this series. That ball, the wind is just galing in. The flag is blowing in hard from left center, and that ball just carried there.
Yeah, it's got to be carrying to left field based on this ball. You hit a semi off the end of the bat and just watches to see if it's fair.
And it looked, Caminetti, even just by, you can tell by him standing there, he's not the type of guy that's going to stand there and watch a home run, but I think he thought it was going to be foul. It ends up 15-20 feet fair.
Greg Vaughn hitting at 280. Vaughn leads the league in extra base hits with 74 of them. Third in the league in homers with 43, behind, of course, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. He's 7th in the league in RBIs with 104 of them. Sometimes the best trades are those you don't make. Padres had him dealt to the New York Yankees last year at the end of the year. Didn't pass the Yankees physical, so he remained at San Diego, and what numbers he has put up this year.
There's not too many tests he hasn't passed this year.
Really. On the inside corner, 2-2 to Greg Vaughn. Birthday wishes today to Betty Dillman in Percy, Pennsylvania, from husband Cy and from us. Betty and Cy are frequent spring training visitors down in Clearwater. Ripped into left field, a base hit. Greg Vaughn is a one-out base runner. And it'll bring up Mark Sweeney.
Paul Byrd at 2-2 count gets a slider up a little bit. One thing in this early going, we've seen Paul Byrd throwing a lot more pitches over the plate and up than he did in his last two starts, or his first two starts against Colorado and Houston.
Mark Parent, veteran catcher, going out to try to settle down Byrd. The batter will be Mark Sweeney. Phyllis Savage celebrating his 75th birthday, which is from husband Bill, who's been a greeter here for the Phillies for 49 years. Bill and Phyllis will be celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary in November. One and nothing to Sweeney. Sweeney had all four of those hits against the Phillies in one game. Went 4 for 4 the first game, 0 for 4 last night.
Hit some balls hard last night, though, too. He's swinging a bat good.
1-1 to Sweeney. Paul Byrd was originally a 4th-round draft pick of Cleveland in the '91 draft. Went over to the New York Mets. Good changeup, along with Dave Malicki and Jerry DiPoto in November of '94 in a deal that sent Jeremy Burnitz to Cleveland. And he went to the Braves in the offseason of '96 for Greg McMichael. Base hit left field. So the Padres are treating Byrd roughly here in the first inning. 4 hits, 4 straight hits after he started it with a strikeout.
This isn't a bad pitch here. It's a sinker that is down and outside part of the plate. I mean, it was low. Sweeney just went that way with it. We said he's been swinging a bat very well.
They'll bring up Ruben Rivera. Highly touted prospect out of the Yankee system that came over in the Hideki Irabu deal. Batting at .230. 24-year-old. 1 strike to him. Dan Egbert of Havertown celebrating a birthday today. Wishes from Dad Bill and from us.
26 pitches already this inning for Paul Byrd.
1-1. And Terry Gleason of Newcastle, Delaware. Birthday wishes today on this August 27th. This with a slider, 2-1.
Galen Cisco watches on. It's one thing is you get a guy that comes over like Paul Byrd has and pitched so well in 2 games. There's not a whole lot you can say to him. Basically, as a pitching coach, you're watching just to see if he's doing anything different than he did the first 2 games.
He has fallen behind Rivera 3-1 with Carlos Hernandez waiting on deck. Guess this could be called a rude awakening from Mr. Byrd.
Well, this is what the one thing you really want to find out about a guy who just has 2 outstanding games, and then you hit a little adversity, and one of the important things is to see how he handles it. You know, does he fight his way out of it? Can he get it back together, make the adjustment?
We shall see. It is a full count now to Rivera. Runners hold, and he just got a piece of it and fouled it back. Still 3-2. Greg Vaughn at second, Mark Sweeney at first, 1 out, 2 runs across. Fouls it back and out of play. Still 3-2 to Ruben Rivera.
San Diego well out in front at National League West, 15 games up on San Francisco, and they are, I guess at this point you'd say, running away with it.
Still trying to get a better record than Houston because best records mean something. Struck him out. The second strikeout for Byrd. 2 down here in the first. And it'll bring up Carlos Hernandez.
There's some Paul Byrd. It's like a slider, maybe a fastball that he just cut a little bit, got it up a little bit, and Rivera couldn't handle it.
Hernandez hitting at .271. The Deer Meadows Retirement Center here in force for this ball game, including the Deer Meadows Center's Scott Rowland Fan Club. Marge Moran, president. They're here enjoying this business person special.
It's one thing as a pitcher you just hate to have happen. You're looking back at the runner, you go to deliver the ball, and the hitter is called timeout. I always said you might as well throw it. You just kind of do one of those kind of things where you feel like it just kind of threw you off, and you throw it at the hitter.
Throw it at the guy or throw it at the plate?
Throw it at the hitter. Doesn't count.
One ball and one strike to Carlos Hernandez. Ooh, just barely foul. Foul by a few inches. One ball and two strikes.
It looked like Paul Byrd is getting that slider up a little bit. In the middle of the plate, you see that ball's right in the middle of the plate. Hernandez doesn't pull a whole lot. He likes to hit the ball the other way. But you get something middle of the plate that's off speed, and they are playing him. Glanville's playing him around to the right side because he does go to right. Abreu very shallow and right.
Struck him out, so he strikes out the side. It could have been worse. Padres get 2 runs. 4 hits, big blow, a homer by Caminetti. No errors, 2 left after 1/2. 2-0 San Diego. They scored 2 in the top of the first. Harry Francona's Phillies lineup batting in the bottom of the first. Doug Glanville center field leads off. Greg Jefferies left field batting second. Scott Rolen third base hits third. Rico Brogna at first base batting fourth. Kevin Jordan second baseman hits fifth. Bobby Abreu right fielder batting sixth. Mark Parent catching hitting seventh. Desi Relaford the shortstop bats eighth, and Paul Byrd pitching hitting ninth. Ken Caminetti at third. Andy Sheets at shortstop today. Ed GIOVANOLA at second base. Mark Sweeney playing first. Carlos Hernandez catching. Greg Vaughn in left. Steve Finley in center. Ruben Rivera in right. And on the mound making his major league debut at 29-year-old Stan Spencer.
Stan Spencer, as you said, making his major league debut. 22 games at AAA Las Vegas. He was 12-6. Tied him for third in the league in wins. A 3.93 earned run average. 137 1/3 innings, 120 hits, 42 walks, 136 strikeouts. He was averaging 8.9 strikeouts per 9 innings. The 136 strikeouts tied him for second in the league.
He was an All-American at Stanford. He was on that Stanford University 1990 National Championship team. Comes out of Battleground, Washington, L.A.
That's right.
Where is Battleground?
That is just outside of Vancouver, Washington, right across the river from Portland.
Okay. 1-0 to Doug Glanville, who's hitting at .301. One and one to Doug Glanville. One and two.
Spencer's last 7 games in Las Vegas, he was throwing the ball real well. 6-0 with a 2.80 earned run average. He came up to take the place of Mark Langston, who was placed on a 15-day DL with the left rib cage strain.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Doug Glanville. Spencer was originally drafted by Montreal as a compensation pick between the first and second rounds of the June '90 draft, but he's had all kinds of injury problems. He has missed 3 full seasons because of injuries. Missed that '90 year when he was drafted with cracked ribs. Ooh. Breaking ball right down the middle for a ball. It's a full count now to Doug Glanville.
There's Langston there.
Base hit center field. Doug Glanville leads off the Phillies half of the first with a single up the middle.
He missed 91, had reconstructive elbow surgery, missed 92 from that also. 96 had a separated shoulder that he got in a snow skiing accident, which kept him out the whole season. His 2-2 fastball. That's a pretty good pitch. That's just a nice piece of hitting by Doug Glanville.
Looked like, in fairness to Spencer, he had him struck out on the previous pitch and didn't get the call.
Pretty good pitch. Yep.
Glanville second in the league in singles, fifth in the league in hits. That's his 168th hit. 1 no strikes to Greg Jefferies.
There's a changeup from Spencer. He's going to be fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher.
Glanville leads the Phillies with 19 steals. He has not been running much of late. Glanville a little weary. The heat of August has taken its toll, and Doug's lost 10 to 15 pounds. Something most of us could use, but not Doug Glanville.
Well, he doesn't have the type of frame. I mean, he's lean to start with, and he's playing every day, especially in this hot, muggy type weather you get in the middle of the summer here. Takes its toll.
Fellow that's lost 15 ounces over the last month is celebrating a birthday today. Charlie O'Gara, our home plate cameraman. Any happy returns of the day to Charlie?
Way to go, Charlie. 49 again.
Chased a high pitch and lofts a fly ball to left field, and Greg Vaughn puts it away. So Jefferies helped out Spencer there, going after a high one down.
Oh, he does see that ball is up there. It's almost like he wanted to call timeout and start over in the middle of the swing.
Here's Scott Rolen hitting at 287. Padres pitching has really been tough on Rolen. He's only hitting 129 this year against San Diego. Lifetime and even 200. It's been the toughest club for him. Rolen, though, loves to hit at Veterans Stadium, hitting 327, and 65 of his RBIs have come at home, behind only Bichette, Castilla, and Sosa in that category.
Now, this year, the San Diego pitching is really, I mean, they've done a number on this whole Phillies offense, and you talk to people about the way the Phillies have been playing lately, and I've heard people say, well, they just look lackluster or that, but it's, guys are running balls out hard. They're playing hard. And sometimes you face a team that's hot. Their pitching's going well. It can make you look lackluster, but it's not for lack of effort. It's sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the other club and say, hey, these guys are pitching well. You see on this homestand what the Phillies have done, hitting 252, which is not terrible. Outscored their opponent.
Bullpen, the
bottom line
has not done well on this homestand.
The bullpen has struggled with the Phillies.
Curveball just missed. 1-2.
Kind of the opposite end of the spectrum at Padres bullpen, which has been phenomenal.
Really. High with a fastball, 2-2 the count to Rolen.
There's a pen. San Diego. Dan Maselli, who's on a 19 1/3 scoreless inning streak.
And of course the best closer in the National League, and Trevor Hoffman.
Yep.
43 saves. There goes Glanville. Rolen swung, and the throw goes into center field. Glanville gets his 20th stolen base of the year. Now Rolen offered at that pitch. Yeah, the appeal goes to Paul Schreiber. He did swing it.
I thought he went after it too. You see the replay. Yeah, there's no question that was a full swing. And Finley does a good job. You see Rolen on that high fastball. It's definitely a swing. Glanville gets a good jump and ball's high, but Finley always does a good job. I mean, he anticipates and covers some ground out there. Keeps Glanville from going to third.
Rico Brogna batting at .268, 17 homers. He's knocked in 92. Fouls this one back and out of play. Brogna's hitting .315 with runners in scoring position. '74th birthday wishes today to the Honorable Charles P. Merarkey. Charles P. Merarkey Jr. celebrating his 74th. A balls and 2 strikes to Rico Brogna.
20 steals, a career high for Doug Glanville.
First season really he's had a chance to play on a daily basis. In the left field, Vaughn backtracks. He's there, makes the catch, and that will retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. After 1, it's 2-0 San Diego.
There's a fanatic out there in the stands on this final business person special of the year. San Diego and a 2-run home run by Ken Caminiti leads it 2-0. What do you do that to Charlie for?
I don't know.
Huh?
Personal vendetta, I think.
Charlie O'Gara is one of the nicest guys in the world. Why would somebody pie him? How old is he?
Birthday 49 again.
Yeah. He's been here 49 years. Here in County Mac.
49 again.
Oh, that's a fair ball. That guy did not touch it. Abreu, got a bad carom, and look out. Sweeney's going to go all the way to third. So Abreu was trying to cut that ball off and keep Sweeney at first. It kept going away from him. It'll probably be a triple because I don't think he touched it.
That ball really shot off that fence hard. Abreu came in aggressively, and rightly so. You want to come in there and try and make the play off that fence where it jets out. See, it goes right down the line, but it kicked off hard there. Usually doesn't come off quite that hard, and Bobby just, I don't want to say he's over aggressive. You want to be aggressive there and try and cut that guy down at second base or keep him at first, and you're not really sure where it's going to kick off or how it's going to kick off of that fence.
Sweeney's second triple of the year. He had a 4-hit game here in the first game of the series. He's 2 for 2 in this one. Last night he was 0 for 4. Feast or famine series for Mark Sweeney, playing in right field, or actually left field in this, or first base in this one today. He's been playing a lot of right field with Tony Gwynn down. Rivera pops it up, playable in the infield. Scott Rolen in fair territory, 1 away. And the Phillies dodge 1 bullet. There's Tony Gwynn out with an Achilles tendon problem. He re-aggravated that in a game against the Phillies in San Diego, and they expect him back tomorrow.
I'm sure they'll find a place in the lineup for him.
He could probably start out there tomorrow. Bat second. Carlos Hernandez, the catcher, struck out his first time up, and he swings and misses. With 1 out now, the Phillies have brought the infield in. They had the infield back for Rivera, and now you see them all the way up.
Well, he took a big swing there. Almost kind of pulls off the ball, which is funny. He'll pull off the ball, but a lot of times he'll hit the ball the right side.
He did it again. A swing and a miss, 0-2. Carlos Hernandez is number 1 catcher here now. He was back up to Piazza for a number of years at Los Angeles. And you see what he's done with runners on third and less than 2 outs. He has Sweeney over there with 1 away. No balls, 2 strikes. 1-2. Birthday wishes today, number 67, to Anna Lapierre from Ridley Park, from friend Renee and everyone at the Tire Center. It's the sound of a tire center, right? Sort of.
That was more like snoring. A different kind of tire.
Fly ball center field. This ought to get the job done. Glanville has it. Sweeney tags. Doug's throw will be late, and it's 3-0. So Hernandez, with 2 strikes on him, gets the run home. He knocks in his 44th of the year.
I think with Paul Byrd up in the count, I don't think he wanted that pitch where it was. It was a pitch that Hernandez could handle over the middle of the plate. If he gets that ball away, you get him to chase after throwing a couple pitches in.
Well, now 2 outs and nobody on base, and Andy Sheets, the batter, he playing at shortstop today, struck out his first time up. And that one's into the press box, or just off the facing of it, back down into the crowd. A nice catch by a fan. Sheets batting in the 8 hole, and then following him will be Stan Spencer should he keep the inning alive. Spencer is shutting out the Phillies here in his first major league start as they continue their offensive funk. One and two.
The other thing, I mean, they've had some good pitching against them in this, as you say, offensive funk, but the other thing too is, you know, guys know they're in a funk. They need to score some runs, and I think they get a little more anxious up there. We saw Jeffrey swing at a pitch that he knows he didn't want. That
Sheets didn't like it. That was a curveball for a called third strike. A run on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. 3-0 Padres. Towards home plate as he homered down the left field line in the first inning. 2-run homer, 3-0 as Stan Spencer in his major league debut has blanked the Phillies through 3. It'll be Scott Rolen, Rico Brogna, and Kevin Jordan. Rolen struck out his first time up. Was on a high pitch. He did not think he had swung at it as Glanville stole a base, and Buckner, the home plate umpire, said yes. What have you seen from Spencer so far?
This fastball, he's got a little movement on it, a curveball that looks like it's pretty tight. Got some, you know, top to bottom break on it, but there's a fastball. It's pretty straight. Occasional changeup that has some good movement on it. I think the pitcher always has the advantage. I feel the first time around, the first time hitters have seen him, they don't know what to look for, his velocity, the timing of the pitches, what his breaking ball does. But I think a lot of times you'll see the second time around the order, a young pitcher, that's when he will run into trouble if he's going to.
Well, he comes in here hot in his final 7 games with the Las Vegas Stars. He was 6-0 with a 2.80 earned run average. Fair or foul down the line, hooking, foul ball. Scott Rolen hit it way out of here, but way foul. That's 2-2.
You said that 2.8 earned run average in Las Vegas is very good, because that, especially in that league, it's a very hitter-friendly league in that park. As Scott gets a fastball here, just gets the bat head out a hair early, hits this ball good way up into the seats.
And then he goes away from him with a fastball, swing and a miss, struck him out for the second time in the game. 1 out here in the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Brogna. Rico fly to left his first time up. Four strikeouts for Spencer and no walks. He's only given up 1 hit, and that was or 2 hits. Single to Glanville and a single to the pitcher Paul Byrd. There is Scott Rolen. You know, as you mentioned, that's such a good point. When teams go into a funk, now Jim Fregosi, who's down there behind the plate, used to call it a mix-up all the time. When teams go into batting slumps, guys try so hard that they really go out of what they do best.
Yeah.
Pop-up foul out of play. Everybody's trying to knock a run in or get a base hit or do something, and the next thing you know, it's late in the ballgame and you're in trouble again.
They take themselves out of their own comfort level or out of their own element.
Another strikeout. 2 outs here in the 4th inning on back-to-back strikeouts.
You see Hernandez giving that sign, keep it down. I don't. Change up, slider,
or a breaking ball. You might have been. It looked
like a small little curveball, harder curveball.
Right. And he swung over it, and Kevin Jordan, the batter, popped a shortstop his first time up. And Spencer misses 1-0. Spencer went to Stanford, where he was 26-10 in 3 seasons for the Cardinal, pitching with Mike Mussina. He's been hurt a lot throughout his minor league career. Originally a sandwich pick by Montreal, and then a Rule 5 draft pick by Florida. And then they signed him here as a 6-year minor league free agent. 2 balls and 1 strike.
That's a slider there, and I don't. I think the slider he struck Brogna out on a net, or I guess they're sliders. I haven't seen any before this inning.
Breaking ball's been mostly a curveball.
Yeah.
That was another harder breaking ball, a slider, and he missed with it. 3 balls and 1 strike now on Jordan with Bobby Abreu on deck. Foul tip. 3-2. Spencer hasn't pitched since the 21st of this month, when he beat the Tacoma Mariners. Fly ball foul down the right field line. I've been wanting to ask you this. Where is Battleground, Washington?
Just outside of Vancouver, right across the river, the Columbia River from Portland, right on the border. Right close. In fact, Randy Myers, with the new addition to the Padres bullpen, is from Vancouver. Familiar with right in that area.
Pop-up foul behind the plate. Well, this guy, Stan Spencer, was born in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Another great Northwest product.
Right, another guy from the state of Washington. I thought you'd like that. Figure he was from Washington, he had to throw some sliders sooner or later.
Only a matter of time.
3-2. He walked him. So the first walk of the game issued by Spencer belongs to Kevin Jordan. Phillies with a 2-out base runner for Bobby Abreu, who was called out on strikes his first time out. Wind is blowing basically straight in today from the northeast, and I think you might get a little help if you hit one. It appeared Caminetti's ball in the first inning got some help, and it straightened it out too.
Yeah, it looked like Cammy stood at home plate thinking it was going to be foul, and ended up 20 feet fair.
Way fair. And northeast breeze has cooled it off a little bit here. Ballpark today. It's been a little sultry the last few nights.
Ooh. Been miserable.
Cloudy now. It's supposed to be an overcast, windy afternoon. That big storm is going to bring the northeast wind in here today, and it feels great. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Well, as you mentioned, the Phillies now the second time through the lineup against Spencer. Might have a better idea of what they're going to see from him, although he's been getting him out so far, except for the walk to Jordan. And Abreu takes outside, 3-0. He's staying away from him. Mark Perrin on deck. He was the victim of an unusual play his last time up, and probably will be booed throughout the game for that. Three balls and no strikes. Abreu to left center field, got the green light, and that's open spaces. Jordan coming around, a big high hop for Finley, so Vuk's going to send him, and Jordan will score the first run of the ball game. Bobby Abreu with an RBI double, his 61st of the year, and the Phillies are finally on the board after being shut out last night. Took them 3 2/3 innings today to score.
Well, that's a big boost. One thing, Bobby Abreu, you talk about guys that get out of their element on his 3-0 fastball. It's a pretty good pitch for 3-0, and it's just on the outside corner and down. But Abreu's just sitting on a fastball. He likes to go that way with it. And one of the things that, you know, to me, Bobby Abreu does not. He's one of those few guys that, even when he gets anxious, he doesn't come out of his element. He stays within himself. He has all year and been very consistent in that.
Double number 26 for him. And the first pitch to Parent is high. Parent last time up did not think he had swung at that 3-2 pitch. He didn't realize it had gotten away from the catcher. And then when he saw it, it was too late. He was still kind of jawing with Buckner, the home plate umpire. So it looked really bad when he didn't run that out. And he was thrown out by quite a bit after the ball went to the backstop. But I think he didn't think he swung at it. But I guess the first thing you have to do in that situation is run. As you see Abreu on at second.
Thing about it, if you do run, you see Bobby Abreu obviously happy with his double. But if you do run, then it's almost like conceding to the umpire, yeah, I swung.
Right, and you know, he didn't know that that thing had gone all the way back there like that until it was too late. So it looked like he was dogging it on the play. And as I say, it was an unfortunate play for him.
Well, one thing about Mark Parent, he can be running full tilt and look like he's dogging it because he just doesn't run. I mean, he's not a burner, I guess.
Right, and once he started to run, I mean, he wasn't going to get there before Hernandez threw him out. 2 balls and 1 strike on him as he tries to do some damage here with Bobby on at second base. 3-1 now in favor of San Diego. Phillies hadn't scored a run since Greg Jefferies homered with nobody out in the 6th inning in the first game of this series. Phillies have made Spencer work a little bit more this inning. 26 pitches thus far, and they've scored off him. 2-2 now to Parent. And he is called out on strikes. And he didn't like that either. A run on a hit and 1 left. It's 3-1 in favor of San Diego. Dump the Experts trivia time. This was sent in by Ross Schwartz from Richboro. What 4 uniform numbers did the Crucker wear as a Philly? We came up with,
what is 8?
Yeah, 19, 28, 29. What's the other one? All right, we give
Uncle. 8, wasn't 8?
11.
Oh, 11.
Number 11. He also wore number 11. He gave 29 to Mitch. That's when he got the case of beer.
He had 8 in San Diego.
Oh, did he wear 8 in San Diego?
Yeah.
Well, those are the 4 numbers he wore here with the Phillies, and we thank Glenn for sending that in. Here's Caminetti. He's homered and grounded into a double play, and he gets a base hit right through the middle. The Phillies are catching Caminetti red hot. And he is very difficult when he is in that state.
Now he is hot. He's swinging a bat good right now. He's so strong. Paul Byrd actually gets this ball, a little fastball down in and kind of cuts it in on him a little bit. Because he is so strong, he can, and it's not that he fought that off when it's down there, but he's still able to put a good swing on it.
There's Ken Ryan starting to throw in the Phillies bullpen. And Greg Vaughn, the batter.
Crucky looks like an 8 right now, doesn't he?
Not going to get on him. He and I are tight again. You deliver that line to him.
Oh, he said he's still in playing shape.
Yeah.
Good slider.
And a swing and a miss by Vaughn. I mean, that's what Byrd showed since he's come up here. Good sliders to the right-handed batters, a change up to the left-handed hitters. And they swing and miss with his breaking ball out to the right-handed hitters.
And he's used his fastball, not as much this game, but in the first 2 games, I thought he used his fastball in and up a lot more on the right-handers. Here he's going in.
Desi will have 1 play. Look out. Caminetti comes after Kevin Jordan, who didn't jump. And Kevin Jordan's lucky he didn't get hurt. Caminetti got hurt more than Jordan. Look at him come limping off the field.
Well, Caminetti plays the game hard. He goes in there to take that second baseman out. Nothing bad or dirty. You just go in hard. You try and keep him from turning that double play, and he comes in. Kevin Jordan just gets that left leg up in the air in time, because if he doesn't get that left leg out of the way, his knees are going to be bending the other way.
Right. That's why I mentioned that he looked like he was planted.
That's close.
Real close. The second baseman, even when they don't have a play, you watch or shortstop will almost always jump to stay away from that contact.
Good job by KJ staying in there and trying to turn the double play, though.
Yeah, and you saw what happened with the throw. I mean, it was a high throw because Caminetti came after him. Here's Sweeney, 2 for 2. He singled, tripled, and scored. He got a weird triple last time. It clanked off the box seats down the right field line and then skidded away from Abreu. So what would have been a single or a double turned into a triple, and then he scored on Hernandez's sacrifice fly. Made it 3-0. It's now 3-1 Padres as GREGG Vaughn on at first on the fielder's choice. Up the middle, a play for Jordan. Oh, it took a bad hop. He had it in his hand, and then he lost it.
It's still a nice play by Kevin Jordan, and he did what he could. That ball came up bad. Looked like it hit somewhere in that dirt or the back of the cutout, and all it is just a reaction. And I mean, try and catch a ball barehanded. It's not easy. Just about had it. See, right, hits right back at that cutout. He's going back there with his glove, and then it just shoots up. So it's a reflex, and you try and grab it barehanded. That's what he did. Almost comes up with a really nice play.
Yeah, he'll get charged with an error. That's the Phillies' first error in their last 9 ball games. Coming into this game, they've gone 75 innings without an error as Rivera swings and misses. Their last one was in the 8th inning on the 19th of August against Houston by Scott Rolen.
That's a tough error because of the hop it took.
Yeah, I mean, he made the play, and then he did have plenty of time after he grabbed that short hop, and they give him an error on it.
Left-hander Yorkis joins Kenny Ryan in the bullpen.
Rivera pulls off that one. He's 0 for 2. He has struck out and popped up. Byrd in his 3rd start for the Phillies. His 4th game overall. He had one outing at Colorado in an Atlanta uniform earlier this year. Missed with a breaking ball, 1-2. Terry Francona looking a little helpless right now as his team has been in some offensive miseries for the last few games. All he can do is wait for him to start hitting again.
Well, you're right. There's nothing Terry Francona can do about it. There's nothing Hal McRae can do about it. But just go out there and continue to work with them, and they do every day. I mean, it's those guys go up there and if they're in a funk, it's something you just have to hang with them and work their way through it.
Well, he mentioned on his pregame radio show that he was proud of them that they're playing the game well. I mean, as I just mentioned, that's the first error in 9 games, and it's not like they haven't been getting the balls either. They played well defensively. They've gotten decent pitching, but they just haven't scored enough runs to win many games.
And they're playing hard, and that's all you can ask. You can't do anything more. I mean, if you're not playing well and you're dogging it, that's one thing.
That ball's hit well to left. It's gonna go. A 3-run home run by Ruben Rivera on a breaking ball. And just like that, 6-1 now in favor of the San Diego Padres. And we saw early in this game that ball was going to fly to left field, and that one did.
Paul Byrd had missed with the slider the pitch before. Threw a pretty good one. This one he just leaves on the plate. I think that's one of the things that is hurting him more today than obviously than his first 2 games, is he's getting that breaking ball over the plate. But I also think his fastball that he runs in on right-handers makes that you don't have to be so good with your breaking ball away. And we haven't seen him throw in as much as he had the first 2 games.
Hernandez struck out his first time up, and sacrifice fly run batted in. Ruben Rivera with home run number 6 on the year. He now has 27 runs batted in. Little nubber right back to Byrd. Hernandez out at first base, 2 away.
And that was a fastball in we're talking about. Get that ball up in on their hands, and then it makes that breaking ball away better.
Here's the shortstop, Andy Sheets. Has gone down on strikes twice in this one. So Stan Spencer in the on-deck circle in his first major league appearance is looking at a 6-1 lead here in the 6th inning.
There's nothing more comforting than having a bullpen like San Diego's behind you when you get a 5-run lead and you're in the 6th inning.
That's trouble too.
6-run lead.
Yeah, you know it's going to go because they are flying out of here to left. 3rd home run of the ball game. Hit by the San Diego Padres for Andy Sheets, his 5th of the year. And as Andy just mentioned, it is now a 6-run lead at 7-1. Here's a look at it.
So another breaking ball that he's just getting under him a little bit.
Yep, another hanging slider. And now Spencer gets a base hit, and it gets by Abreu, who goes all the way to the wall, and he will have a double. So what a game for Spencer. Has a heck of a chance to pick up his first major league win in his first appearance, and there's his first major league hit. So he might have baseballs all over the place for the ride home tonight. And that's going to bring Francona out of the dugout. So Byrd, who was so brilliant in his first 2 starts for the Phillies, struggles here this afternoon against his hot San Diego club. And he will depart for Yorkis Perez. He charged with 7 runs at this point on 9 hits. And Byrd will leave, down 7-1. Yorkis Perez coming out of the bullpen for the Phillies. And we'll be right back.
To Major League scoreboard, Tampa Bay about to halt their 5-game losing streak. They lead Minnesota 10-3 now in the 9th inning behind Julio Santana. Seattle at Cleveland, Oakland at Boston, Kansas City at Toronto, Anaheim and New York, Baltimore and Chicago in the National League. The Mets and the Giants play a day game today. That'll be Danny Darwin going for San Francisco. Florida at Cincinnati tonight. Atlanta at St. Louis. Mark McGwire will be facing Denny Nagel. Chicago at Colorado. Sammy Sosa will be facing Pedro Estacio. Montreal at Los Angeles and Milwaukee at Arizona. Mark Leiter is the new pitcher for the Phils. Leiter coming on. 4 innings, 59 hits, 28 earned runs. He has struck out 68 and walked 36. Padres leading it by a score of 7-1, and Andy Sheets will lead it off. Greg Myers has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher Bowringer. Sheets is 1 for 3, a home run. Fouls it straight back. 1 strike to Andy Sheets. Scott Sanders is throwing in the San Diego bullpen now. Not a save situation. 7-1 Padre lead.
Padres using this game to maybe get a couple guys into a game that haven't pitched that much. Bowringer and Sanders. They use Myers, Maselli, and of course Hoffman late in games, and then Donnie Wall's a swingman in there also.
2 balls and a strike to Sheets. Missing inside, 3-1. Grounded foul, third base side, full count to Sheets. Mark Leiter and brother Al very proud of their hometown Little League team, Toms River, New Jersey.
Pretty strong run that Toms River club.
Very much in contention to win the Little League World Series. Walked him. So Sheets is a leadoff base runner, and then we'll bring up the pinch hitter Myers. Myers hitting at .238 as a pinch hitter. He is 2 for 10. One of 3 Padre catchers. High with it, 1 ball and no strikes. Grounded sharply past the diving Rico Brogna. It's going to go all the way to the corner. Sheets is going to be held at third base. Myers with a pinch double, and the Padres have runners at second and third.
Here's Myers off the bench and got a high fastball, hooked it down into the corner. So the Padres with a big lead in this one at 7-1, trying to get a little more here in the 9th inning.
Steve Finley has been held in check this afternoon. The leadoff man is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Phillies are going to play the infield in. One strike to Finley. All 7 Padre runs thus far charged to starter Paul Byrd, 5 of them earned and 2 unearned. Bud Light are in danger of giving up more here in the 9th inning. He balls and a strike. Three and one. Seven-1 Padres here in the 9th inning. Runners at second and third and nobody out. That's deep enough to score the run. Deep enough to move everybody. Sheets scores. Myers moves up to third on a sac fly by Finley, and it's now an 8-1 San Diego lead. And I was going to bring up Ed GIOVANOLA, the second baseman. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Eight-1 Padres here in the 9th inning. Ground ball sharply hit. Brogna holds the runner, makes the unassisted out at first base. Out number 2, and that'll bring up George Arias.
That's one of those professional courtesy plays right there. With an 8-1 lead, you don't go on contact.
This guy was hitting .308, 36 homers, 119 RBIs at Vegas when he was called up.
He's not going to play a whole lot of third base here unless something happens to Caminetti.
I know that's a hitter's league, but those are pretty impressive numbers. He's a 26-year-old out of Tucson, signed originally by the Angels in the 7th round of the draft, and came over here for the Padres in the Ricky Henderson deal. Now balls and 2 strikes to Arias. Slider missed. 1-2. Myers at third base, 2 down here in the 9th inning, a run across. Two balls and 2 strikes to George Arias. Struck him out. That will retire the side. Padres get a run here in the 9th on 1 hit. No errors, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 9th, 8-1 San Diego. To play left field for San Diego here in the bottom of the 9th. Greg Myers stays in the game to catch, and on the mound is Scott Sanders. Sanders, the 29-year-old. They got him from Detroit this May. Exchanged for Rod Lindsay. This will be his 13th game for San Diego. He's 2-0 with a 5.21 ERA, 19 innings, 20 hits, 11 runs, 17 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Sanders spent most of his career with San Diego, then went over to Seattle, Detroit, and now back with the Padres. 1 strike to Bobby Abreu. Sandwich pick in the 90 draft for the Padres. They sent him to Seattle for Sterling Hitchcock. 1-1 to Abreu, has knocked in the lone Philly run. He has doubled in 3 at-bats. Two balls and a strike to Bobby Abreu. Out to second base. GIOVANOLA throws Abreu out, 1 down here in the 9th. We'll bring on Mark Parent. He has twice struck out and lined out to right on a great catch by Ruben Rivera. We don't have any more games against these guys.
Really?
Phillies will go 1-8 against this Padre team. The 1 win was over Trevor Hoffman, of all people, in extra innings.
It was well earned.
Line drive into left center field. 1 hop and off the fence. Mark Parent will roll into second with a double. Josie Relaford will bat, and Kevin Sefcik has moved into the on-deck circle.
Here's Parent with the ball hit into the gap in left center field. He picks up double number 4 on the year. Turned a couple of those boos into cheers.
There's Sefcik in the on-deck circle. Relaford has flied out to center, struck out, and flied out to deep right. Game of Tampa Bay is over. The Devil Rays have beaten Minnesota 10-3. Talked to my son Todd the other day, who works for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He had a buddy that saw a game at Durham in which Mark Wohlers was pitching. Faced 5 batters. 4 of them walked. Twice with runners at A runner at third base. He threw it back to the backstop.
He sounds like he's gonzo right now.
Wow.
That's really a shame when you see that happen to a guy.
That is.
Especially a guy as good as he was.
One ball and 2 strikes to Desi Relaford.
And even early in the year when we saw Mark Wohlers, he was just unhittable.
Yeah, that's. We just hope he can conquer that as Bruce Ruffin did, and as Steve Blass did. They've named it after Steve Blass, but Blass conquered it. Relaford goes down swinging.
Well, they've obviously made plans to go into the playoffs without him too. You know, Leitenberg's been their closer and has done a good job for them. As Desi Relaford gets a fastball away and swings and misses.
Bruce Ruffin had it while with the Phillies, and then he conquered it going over to Colorado. Kevin Sefcik hitting at .321. Sefcik has a pinch hitter, 4 for 24.
Must be a lot of fun for those minor league guys hitting under the minor league lights against Wohlers, throwing balls to the screen.
Really. And Wohlers has been clocked at 100 here on our gun at Veterans Stadium. Well, that record will be now 163-0 without any problem, with an 8-1 lead. But it's amazing. Dates all the way back to July of '96. Lead after 8 innings.
Well, in this sport, you play 162 game seasons. So that's more than a season, 163 games. And a lot of course, has to do with those guys out there, especially Hoffman.
One and 2 to Kevin Sefcik. Fly ball right field. Ruben Rivera will make the grab for the final out for the Phillies in the 9th. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. San Diego has swept the series. Ruben Rivera, fine defensive game as the Padres win it by a score of 8-1. Rivera also hit a home run in this ball game, as did Andy Sheets. So Bruce Bochy has seen his team sweep this series, and they're well on their way to postseason. They had a great year. Scott Sanders finishing up this afternoon for Stan Spencer, who made his major league debut a successful one, going 6 strong innings, also getting his first major league hit, a double. So the Padres win it by a score of 8-1 here at Veterans Stadium. Ruben Rivera with a 3-run home run, some fine defensive plays. And we'll be back with the totals and a recap right after these messages.